and hello.
Hello. I'm super excited for tonight. I think it's going to be so much fun. I have so much energy, too much energy.
Good. We got to keep that energy going. I mean, every week it's going to be so much energy, right? I mean, every Thursday evening, yes. So
Yes.
a couple of people are like, okay, who are these two ladies?
Yes.
Well, Serena, you want to introduce and I'll just go from there?
All right. Well, I'm Serena Buffalino, and I'm the CEO and founder of the charity Help Heal Humanity. I am my first time ever being a co-host, and I'm here today mainly because of Barbara, who is the producer of this show. It was her idea to put together the Healing Humanity show, and super excited to have launched this together and to cover everything about charity work and putting people who are doing great things in the spotlight so that they get a chance to share their light and their stories with other people around the world.
Yes, you did that so gracefully. I'm loving that. I'm loving it.
Yay.
She's just so awesome. So I came in because I didn't have nothing else better to do in life. So I just decided to get on the train with the, Help Heal Humanity show and just call it a day. No, I'm just kidding. I got other stuff I do, but the biggest thing is my heart. I love Serena. I love the team. You're going to meet the team, which every week we meet, and it's just amazing because just the heart of goals that you all have, it just makes me want to just do more and more to help the organization and to help you, Serena, because you are just making a difference in America. And the other thing I like about this show is we're not only bringing on, Help Humanity is the main key here. I'm going to just put it out there. But for the other half an hour of the shows every week, we're going to bring in like-minded other nonprofit organizations or people that are trying to strive to get to helping people and making a difference in the world. So I'm just excited that this whole hour of opportunity is basically it's not about us. It's about helping people out there that needs it in the world. So good.
Yeah, and again, super excited. We launched this last week. We will be airing every Thursday night. And the beginning of the show is mainly about Help Heal Humanity. Tonight, I'm super, super excited to introduce our president in the USA and our logistics director in the USA, both incredible souls. And then I'm very excited because our first charity guest is a woman that I think is an incredible woman. I've worked with charities all over the world. Her name is Jen. She's the CEO and founder of a place locally here in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And she runs a place called The Hub. And I can't wait to have her on because, again, she is a powerhouse and she is like living proof of what people with big hearts can do to impact communities. So it's going to be a jam-packed show today. I promised everyone that I was going to do my best to keep my mouth quiet because we all know I talk too much, and give these incredible people a chance to get on the show. So let's get to it.
Let's get to it. I got to be like you, Serena, because I got to shut my mouth too, because I'm kind of a speaker and I like to da-da-da, but I want to sit back and just let everybody, tell what they do. So with that, we're going to go to a straight commercial really, really quick. And then we're going to bring on these awesome two wonderful board members that's a part of the U.S. Here we go.
Raise your hand if you've ever been busy. Raise your hand if you've ever got tired and feel like you just need a couple days off. Most people would have both hands up right now. That's our world, fast-paced and income-driven. That's why we get caught up in our own lives so often, and that's why it's understandable when most people don't focus on worries that aren't their own. So what makes someone become a humanitarian? Someone whose whole life focuses on the welfare of other humans.
When you go back and you see kids that were living on the streets, kids had no structure, they had no routine, people who had nothing, they didn't have meals. When you see that all of a sudden they're waking up, they have structure, they have something to do, they have a meal in their belly, their life changes completely. They, like I said, their self-esteem changes, their self-worth, their ability to know who they are in the world and what they have the potential of becoming, to give that hope, to give that dream, and then to watch people actually use that to do good for themselves and others it's amazing. It becomes an addiction.
And with Serena's help, we'll find the meaning of life to a humanitarian.
Wow, this screen is full.
Let's go. Let's go. What's up, beautiful people?
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Barbara.
Super excited to be here.
You know what? It's so hard to contain ourselves because, yes, like we all have amazing energy. And when Barbara actually first approached me to do this show, I immediately reached out to Alexandra and to Christopher, who are our US go-getters. And I told them immediately, there is no way that I could do this without you too. They might as well be the co-host as well. Because again, what we are doing cannot be done alone, and we need incredible people. And in my time, I've seen people come and go because it is a great commitment. But Alex, Chris, I love you both tremendously. And that is why you guys are here today, because you're loyal, you're committed, you're always doing the work. And I'm so excited for you guys to share your story on how we met, why you got involved, and what brought you here to be so committed. And I'll let Barbara take it away, and Barbara can ask the questions, and I'll try to contain myself.
I'm going to contain myself. You got to let yourself go.
First of all, this is going to be a conversation. I hate to do the question interview thing.
Yeah, we're just talking. We're just chit-chatting. We're chit-chatting, and everybody else is listening in.
Yeah. So, since Christopher is doing most of the talking right now, I'm just going to let him also throw the ball at him.
Oh, really? Yeah, you're just going to throw me under the bus. So what do you want me to talk about? I mean, I can talk about all sorts of things. I can talk about my shirt, my guitars, what? You want me to talk about Serena? I can talk about Serena all day long.
No.
Yeah. Oh, look at her. She's already blushing. I already see her up in the Brady Bunch box. She's like, oh, no, I'm not going to be Marsha. I'm not going to be Marsha. What do you want me to talk about? Okay, so how I met Serena. You want me to talk about that?
Yeah. And why are you doing HHH? I mean, why are you even here?
Why am I even here? Because you guys wanted me to be here. No, actually, okay, so here's the story. I'm going to try to keep this as condensed as I possibly can, and that's hard for me. I host 2 shows a week, so I talk a lot. So I was referred to Serena by a mutual friend of ours, one of my mentors, Patricia Geigig, and she said, you got to meet Serena. You got to have her on your Raw and Unscripted show. And I said, okay, sure. If you tell me that there's somebody I need to meet, of course, I'm going to be there. And I had a conversation with her. I was like, oh my God, I was blown away immediately by her energy, her passion, her love, her vulnerability, her outspokenness, everything about her. I was like, oh, yes, we got to get you on. And I say, yes, for her. I had to get her on the Raw and Unscripted show. And not only is she's probably been on both of my shows, the Raw and Unscripted show and the Unfiltered Experience, more times than anybody else, because I mean, what her mission and her passion is about. Once I met her, I was just like, yes. And I said, whenever you have a USA board, I said, sign me up. I will be there right beside you. Because for me, the big thing about Serena and Help Heal Humanity is that you hear a lot of controversy about nonprofit organizations, not for profit organizations. Where's the money going? And what are these people doing with it? And they live in Bel Air. And that's kind of interesting. How much impact are they really making? But Serena, all of us do this out of the goodness of our heart. And when she showed me her story, I was just like literally blown away at the magnitude, and I don't use that word very often, the magnitude of her impact of what she's done in Haiti and around the world and in Canada and Hamilton is unconscionable. It's unbelievable. If everybody in the world just did 1/10 of what she does, this world would be immediately a better place. Back to you, Barbara.
Couldn't agree more. It's very true.
Yeah, Alice, I was saying the same thing.
Yeah, and just to add to that, Chris is absolutely right. We're all volunteers, and 96% of our donations go straight to our programming of food and education programs. And that's so important. I think, whether you're taking, kind of a backseat role to helping, or whether you're on the streets, just knowing that your dollars or your good notes or your whatever it is that you're supporting us with is actually getting used. So it's quite an amazing organization she started, and such an honor to be here with you all.
So Alex, you are our president. You are an incredible president. I have to tell everybody, she's exceptional. Top-notch, incredible.
You guys are an amazing team.
Thank you.
Tell us about how, or the audience, how we met, and then how you got involved. And then after that, I want to get to both of your backstories. because I think your backstories about your life and your journey and how you ended up here, for me, is one of the most inspiring. So
thank you. Yeah, it's very true that there's a lot of alignment on our podcast with hearts, minds, spirits, and it's so easy and fun to work together. It feels more like family. We're hanging out. What are we going to do together today? And I think that when you're on your path, life becomes like that. It becomes easier and you start attracting that energy to you. So it's such an honor. Like Chris, I had another friend, an amazing friend of our family. Her name is Viviana Puelo. She owns Art Tour International. And I was interviewing her for my mom and my company for Sisu Stories, which are about people that rise above and overcome challenge and do amazing things. And her story is incredible. And at the end of her story, she said, well, you think my story is incredible. You've got to meet this Canadian wild woman that is just changing the world. Her name's Serena Buffalino. And I'm going to introduce you. And this was like 2 years ago. And I said, oh my gosh, yeah, I would love to meet her. And Serena and I had a Zoom call. And she shared her incredible story, which was in episode 1 of our podcast. And if you haven't seen it, make sure that you watch it. And, how can you not fall in love with her story and her guts and her drive to one step at a time? Let's just take a step forward in believing in yourself as a capable person to bring change and good to the world. And we just had an instant, soul connection where we hadn't met until last year physically. And I shared a little bit about my background and what I had done with companies and with organizing different types of programs to bring people together and to go out on the street and volunteer. And we continued that conversation, and one thing led to another. And she told me about the U.S. Wanting to bring programming to the United States, capturing some of the best practices from Canada and Spain and Haiti, are other countries that we work with. And so she brought Chris on board, who's amazing. And we have such an amazing group of people that have different skill sets. Barbara, she brought us to you. And your skill sets and your commitment in putting this show together are amazing. And we're so grateful for that. So this is just a really exciting time for our charity and our organization, because we're just starting to publicly talk about some of the programming and infrastructure that we've started to build in the last year together.
Yeah, it's just amazing how when you just bring a group of people, it don't have to be so huge to make such a difference, because we just see all the same thing and we're having fun with it. That's the nice part about it. It's not like we just get together and go, okay, we got to, do all this. It's like we have like a party as we're getting this together. So I always look forward now every Thursday night to meet with you. Wonderful, amazing people. Because like Chris said, and I know you'll do your backstories in a minute, but just like you said, that with Serena holding the fort with this, I mean, she's the head of this whole thing, and just her heart just touched all of our hearts. So it's like we just kind of just a chain reaction, So I just want to put that out there, that when you have a person that has a heart of gold and really showing up, not just saying that she needs some money just to do whatever, and we don't know, like Chris said earlier, where the money's going, but just basically, she's on the ground, she's doing the work. And you can't help but just say, how can I help some kind of way? Yeah. So, Chris, I want to give it to you because you got a wonderful backstory.
Wow, how much time do we have? I will give you guys the condensed version of my backstory. So literally, I was a homeless 7th grade dropout living in the back seat of a station wagon with 18 cats and 2 dogs, with a mother with various psychological disorders from the age of 13 to 17. And during that time, I dug through trash cans for cans, bottles, newspapers, whatever it is, so we could recycle every single day to figure out how to feed the cats, how to feed the dogs, how to get mom cigarettes, how to get mom beer, and then, feed us. So that was a period of 4 years. I had 2 attempted suicides. I had a gun put to my head. Fortunately, I failed at the suicides. I had a gun put to my head, thought my brains were going to get blown all over the parking lot, and realized that if I did not take responsibility for my life, that I would either be dead or in jail pretty soon. And so I decided I didn't want to be dead. I didn't want to be in jail. So I took the action to leave the situation, but not leave my mom, and wound up going back and getting my GED and ultimately getting my master's degree and ultimately having a thriving career in the corporate world for over 26 years. And then ultimately in November of 2019, I left corporate and now I'm just a full-time no excuses coach. I host 2 podcasts every single week called Raw and Unscripted and The Unfiltered Experience. And I'm speaking in Chicago next week, and I love Help Heal Humanity. And that's my story as probably as fast as I've ever said it. So thank you.
OMG.
OMG.
Everything in Chris's story is like, wow. Oh my God. Wait, what? Go back. Say that again.
I'm writing my book right now. That's painful. I'm literally writing the book of this whole journey with my mom. I just literally am probably a little bit, I have another 2 weeks and I'll be done with the rough draft. And I have over 130,000 words. It's an amazing story.
And I think, again, that's probably why Help Heal Humanity is and will be successful, is because the people who are here and the people who are committed, as Chris said, they have a background. They have a story where they were experiencing something and, and then came out of that. And so when you can actually be the voice, when you could be, I was you and I am an example of what is possible, that's what makes it so relatable, right? And Chris's story, I needed to take a breath while he was talking. I don't know how he did that.
The interest of time, that was probably the fastest I ever said it.
And again, as Alex said, and Alex's story is quite compelling as well. These are people who lived and worked as well as myself and Barbara in corporate world, making good money for long extended periods of time. And then all of a sudden there comes a time in your life where you're like, life is short, money isn't everything, I don't need to have the best of everything. And if I can, and when that clicks, if I can use myself and my gifts and my talents to be a leader and example for others and to use my story and my gifts to change the world, then I know I'm making a difference in this world. And I think that's exactly what we're all doing is we're coming, we're raw, we're uncentered and uncentered.
Unscripted.
Sorry. and we're sharing our hearts and our passions. And I think that's what makes this real. I mean, and you see the heart and the passion. Our meetings, our mission is serious. But the way we go about it is with so much heart and intention and not so much like business and greed that I feel like it's going to take us a while, but we will get to where we need to be because of the people like Chris, like Alex, and then later on Jen. So, and again, I fell in love, like they both contacted me and this all, even you, Barbara, this all came through a mutual contact of Patricia Gagic. Right. And Patricia either brought me to Viviana or brought me to you, Barbara, which eventually brought me to Chris and brought me to Alex. And that's also like one of the greatest gifts possible. Maybe you don't have the money, maybe you don't have the time, but your word of mouth and your support for us and telling other people about us is how this is happening. Right. So this is why this show is so important, because we can get our message out there. And if you can't help, the least you can do is when you know somebody who's interested, refer them back to us. Right.
Definitely.
And then, like Alex said, and she'll tell her background, how after she interviewed me, I was I can remember everything about the day when she interviewed me and we first met. And I don't remember details that way. And like she said, it was like our spirits just instantly connected. And after the show, I was like, hey, I need you. The world needs you. And will you help make this happen? And again, Alex, tell us, your history, your life, and why you've given up everything, like Chris, like Barbara, to do something different in this world.
Oh, well, I felt the same way meeting you. I felt that this was an important moment meeting you. And I was just so humbled by your story, as many people are that meet Serena. It's incredible. And it speaks to our human potential. And it kind of challenges you to think, why why couldn't all of us try, at least take a step forward? You know, we don't have to create a whole international charity as Serena has, but how can we get involved, and how can we just use our skill sets for the greater good? And, you know, I grew up in Baltimore City. It's a very divided city between affluence and people that have fallen on hard times. I was one of the few people that grew up in Baltimore City. A lot of people say, oh my God, you grew up in Baltimore, you know, and, you know, if they're not familiar with Baltimore, you know, that what people know is The Wire. Literally across the world, if I don't know someone, they say, oh, you're from Baltimore, we know The Wire, you know? So, and there's a lot of truth to some of those stories here. So, you know, seeing kind of that dichotomy, you know, growing up was very interesting to me, but I hadn't really had enough of my own falls in life to realize yet how thin that line is for all of us to fall on your own face and need help, and what that feels like. And, you know, if you're not the one that's fallen, I think it's really your role to try to help someone, because that could be you, and to be humble through that. And, you know, so I always knew that was there. And then, you know, I did basic work like volunteering in mental hospitals and organizing blood drives for school. I went over to DC and started working with board of directors and selling a board portal software and helping them do these amazing things in the world that I was inspired by, but I wasn't sure how to get involved. And then I was hired with a company that had super high turnover, terrible employee relations, drama. And they hired me in investor relations, but also to help design some sort of employee bonding program. And so perspective was really missing in that drama. And because it was property management and there were communities and families that were part of our business, I thought, let's get them immersed in ways of giving back. And so we started designing this program. Our attrition went down, our productivity went up, our employee relations were amazing. We won a state award for marketing, branding, our Yelp reviews went up, everything went up. People started being kinder to each other. And that's where we really realized the power of giving back heals everyone. And so that particular experience is where Serena and I really bonded. And, you know, we're very aligned on that. And so it's proven fact. We want to inspire other companies, other businesses, other teams and organizations to start thinking, instead of a happy hour, how can we do something more meaningful that helps everybody, including ourselves? So it's really an honor to be part of doing that together. And it's such a pleasure every day to be part of this organization.
Wow. Well,
Amen.
I want to say before we move forward, because I mean, with timing, if anybody's just listening in, I mean, this is Help Humanity Show. We come on every Thursday, 9:00 Eastern Time. Right now, we have the wonderful U.S. board online in streaming right now. Alex, Christopher, and the amazing Serena, who started this whole HHH incredible organization. So I just wanted, because I know some people are coming saying, what is this these wonderful people? I'm telling you who they are. So just want to just let everybody know that what you're watching, Help Humanity Show. We come on every week. Now, I want to ask both of you, Christopher and Alex, you know, since you are the U.S. board, what kind of like mission, because I know Serena has her big mission of everything, but as far as the U.S., what kind of things are going to be we're looking forward to in the future?
Alex.
Yeah, it's a great question. You know, I think in year one, we learned a lot together. You know, as the newest of the boards for our charity, we're trying to figure out, how does Spain win? How does Haiti win? How does Canada win? And what can we replicate and scale? There are some differences and challenges in the U.S. that we faced that really slowed us down in a lot of growth last year, such as state registrations. And we can go into more nitty gritty on another show. But, you know, at this point, we're really starting to, how can we hone in on our our networks to start bringing this type of programming that's already being done in other countries and start piloting those programs locally to scale to other areas. So one thing that we're really excited about is we're going to be doing a 1 to 2 week program with a girls' school here in Maryland. It's actually my alma mater, and they have a service league. It's very important to them, and we reached out and said, let's talk. And so in June, we're going to be running that programming, and with the universe working in our favor, we plan to take that programming to other schools and start replicating that model to really provide perspective to kids and really have them find their own, intrinsic value and skill sets, and how can they use their talents to give back. So it's a very fulfilling and exciting program that we plan to run this summer.
And that's exactly it. Is, again, Help Heal Humanity was never part of my life goal or dream, but it happened organically in the classroom because I am a teacher. So if a group of students could inspire me and we could inspire others, and it all began in the classroom, our charity is focused mainly on being able to deliver these types of education programs all over the world. So the summer school program that is coming out, again, it's education based. It's for youth who want to make a difference. But more importantly, what it is bringing youth out into their local communities, right? And showing them what is happening and letting them experience that. Because the one thing we always say is, in helping others, we're really helping ourselves. And we're learning about ourselves, and we're understanding what we're good at, what we're not good at, what we like, what we don't like. And through the service work, you become clearer and clearer about who you are, what you're good at, so that you can then go on and be the best you can be for others. So our USA programming is educational based, doing workshops in schools, launching this summer school program. And then the other component of Help Heal Humanity is addressing homelessness and food insecurities. And the homelessness and food insecurity is becoming more and more widespread, because we see, even with the pandemic or even prior to the pandemic, and I will admit, being Canadian born and raised, I was really naive to the extreme violence and injustices and inequalities in the USA, right? So it's shedding light on us as, a global charity to bring this programming in the USA. So we were doing homelessness, we're addressing food insecurities, and we're doing educational workshops so that students can continue this legacy that started in my classroom years and years and years ago, right? Because again, these are the future change makers of the world. And at Help Heal Humanity, we do believe in academics, but more importantly, we believe in the life skills and the social skills. So Help Heal Humanity can be that charity that is bringing in that extra component of building you up as a human, not, in the textbooks, but in the real life situation. If that is the one thing Help Heal Humanity does, is create a different kind of thinker, learner, and being in the world. And we do that by service. We reached an incredible mission together, right?
All right. So
I thought, are we going to wave and just go around?
Well, we don't want to hold up Miss Jennifer Bonner. That's going to be awesome. So Alex and Chris, first of all, thank you for coming on. You're going to be on many other shows.
Thank you,
but
Barbara. Thank you so much.
And any last quick words before we get to our next part of the show from Chris or Alex?
If you're thinking of getting involved, just email us or just reach out to us. If you don't know what you want to do yet, there's all different ways to help, very small ways to much larger ways in helping us from a strategic standpoint. So reach out. We'd love to meet you. And I'm sure that will happen. I think the heart energy is there, and I'm sure we're going to be attracting some of that back. So I'm excited to meet you guys.
Yes. And I would just like to add to this, the fact that when you do something nice for somebody else, the magic that happens in your own life is insurmountable. It's amazing. I learned from my own experience to go back and give is I receive more than I give. So it's amazing what you can do in your life. So if you're struggling, go do and give and be of the world. And I promise you it will come back to you in spades. Thank you very much, Barbara. You rock.
And I just want to say that again, when Barbara, you asked me to be your co-host, I said there was no way I could do it without Chris and Alex. So this, like Chris and Alex, I know there are going to be many of times where I'm not going to be able to make it. And so that's why I say you are both like the co-host as well, because everybody who is listening, watching, you will continue to see both Alex and Chris because they are so instrumental to our charity. And without them, I cannot be who I am. And so they will be back. This was just like a very first introduction to them. And both of you will come back time and time and time and time again throughout this whole show to continue to share your story, your gifts, and I love you. You guys,
you'll see them. You'll see them. We'll see them again.
We know for everybody. We love you guys.
Love you all. So
you
we're gonna do a quick commercial, and then we'll get right to our Miss Jennifer Bonner. Thank you,
Jennifer.
My name is Serena Buffalino. I am the founder of Help Heal Humanity. My career started off as a special education teacher. When my students found out that there were kids in this world that did not have the right to go to school, inspired them. The concept behind the Haiti School Building Project was a small handful of youth in Toronto would help a small handful of youth here in Haiti. The Haiti School Building Project finally opened up last year, September 2018. It has successfully been running for 7 months now, and what I have seen is nothing shy of beautiful. One person with the support of others can literally transform the planet.
And the magic happens.
I just want to come hang out with that US board. Like, that's insane. I'm totally in. Totally in.
And that is why I'm super, super excited to bring in Jennifer from the Hamilton Hub. I'm going to just briefly speak about her because, again, she is our first charity guest on the show. As I said earlier, I've worked with lots of big charities, you know, YWCA, Rotary International, Scott's Mission, Salvation Army, Habitat for Humanity, you name it. And they're all great charities, and we will have them on this show. But Jen, there is something so unique and special about you, and you are just an incredible woman. And I met Jen through the pandemic when I was in Hamilton. We live in the same neighborhood, in the same community. And Help Heal Humanity was feeding all the people in the tent cities. And then all the tent cities kind of went missing. And so I started to reach out to the local charities. And then I was helping some of the local charities. And then I met Jen from the Hamilton Hub, which is a very new up and coming charity here in our hometown. And when I met Jen, like, you talk about a powerhouse woman, one woman making a difference, a woman who like says, okay, I'm not supposed to do this. I'm not supposed to do this. I shouldn't be doing this, but I don't care. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to define all the, like, break all the rules and all the regulations so that I can actually help, be of service, and give the community what it needs. And when I say this woman is the one woman show making a massive difference in our city, that's why I keep coming back to the Hub and to Jen, because she will tell her story now, and what this one person is doing in our city is absolutely mind-blowing. So Jen, I can't say enough how much I love you, how inspiring you are. And now I'm going to let you tell your story, because your story needs to be heard, like, all over the world.
You beefed it up so much, I don't even know what to say anymore. The truth is that I'm not a one-woman show, right? I have an incredible team here. I have lots of really great donors. I have an amazing amount of folks who support our team and what we're doing. We are strictly a volunteer-run organization. fully grassroots, out of the political arena, out of all that, part of my language, crap. I would have used a different word, but we're on this show. So we started out as COVID driven, right? We started out as giving folks who are unhoused the opportunity to use a washroom, to be able to come in and have a hot coffee, right? Everything was on lockdown in Ontario. You couldn't walk into a Tim Hortons or a Dunkin' Donuts or whatever it is you want to, your local coffee shop and actually use a washroom and grab a coffee. That just didn't exist. So for folks who were unhoused and didn't have an opportunity to go back to a house and use a washroom, there was nowhere for them to go. So a group of local doctors who work with these marginalized populations, deem this to be inhumane. Like, we need to have somewhere where people can go and do these things. So a lot of churches in Hamilton opened up their space and allowed what we called Reston Hygiene centers. So Reston Hygiene centers were basically just us serving a cup of coffee, giving someone somewhere warm to get into for a couple of minutes or cool to get into, depending on the time of the year. But what happened is we started to get to really know these folks and talk to them. They were in our space for like 4 hours, from 5 to 9 every night. We were sitting down, we were chatting with people. And these are people who maybe didn't get the opportunity to be heard anywhere else. And we got to see who they were. And I always tell people that, 15 minutes doesn't make their character, because sometimes folks with acute mental health and addictions would be coming into our space, and maybe it wasn't the best 15 minutes of their life. But the next night when they came back, they were still welcomed in our space, and they still had the opportunity to show us who they really were. And so those relationships defined how we created our business, and what we were doing. And so, we started asking them, what the hell do you need? Like, a lot of people just think that a charitable model is give someone a meal and a cot to sleep in. But that really doesn't get us to where we need to be, right? That charitable model is outdated. We have to get to the root cause. We have to deal with the trauma. We have to deal with all of that stuff that gets us there. And so as much as there's a ton of wonderful people out there helping and feeding everyone, the real work starts with dealing with what's happening inside the person. So getting to know people and understanding that relationships were the most important piece in this is how we kind of built on the program. So in December of 2020, we decided, we had the luxury of partnering with a local church, Philpott Church, which was experiencing a ton. They're right in the downtown core. So obviously, high density of folks living on the street, folks with mental health concerns, and folks with addictions. And they were having some difficulties with a lot of people being on church property, using substances on church property, and just kind of hanging around with nowhere to go. And so they were gracious and offered us a building and an opportunity. And that opportunity was, let's get in here and see what we can do. So we got into the building, and we had this wonderful space, and we started bringing folks in and doing whatever it is they needed. Really client-led, client-driven plans, right? Someone just doesn't need a coffee today. Maybe they need to call their kids on Skype because they've been on the streets for, 8 years and have very minimal contact because they didn't have a phone. They didn't have somewhere to do that. So maybe it was just a phone call, and maybe that's all that person needed, right, to help them move forward. We had other times where maybe what they actually needed was to just come in and sit down and talk to someone and feel like they could be heard for 5 minutes. So it didn't matter what we were doing. We were just letting them tell us what they needed. And so there was no real plan. There was no real focus. We were just, come in, we'll get you through what you need today. And then we'll work on what you need tomorrow. And so now we're at the point where we've kind of drilled down to what those services are and where we're at. So our 5 to 9 drop-in program still runs. The goal is the 5 to 9 drop-in program in the coming months will be peer facilitated, meaning that we're not running this anymore. We are there, and we are letting the folks who live on the streets and all the resilient folks that are unhoused in our community coming in and doing this work for themselves and serving their neighbors and getting that worth out of it. COVID has limited the time frame in which we were able to do that here in Hamilton, but now we're at that point where we're going to start doing that. We also have incredible students who, take care of our facility. But the real goal now is those youth, right? Serena, I know you're passionate about this, and so am I. Our institutionalized 17 to 27-year-old men that are out here, alone and probably doing the most harm too, from a community perspective, they are the ones that are left behind. You know, we do all these really preventative measures for youth. There's a ton of preventative programs, but there's really nothing that supports them once they're already entrenched in the streets. And how do we make sure that they understand the truth about unhealthy masculinity? How do we get them to understand that, social workers are not the worst people in the world? Social workers, to them are the people who took them away from their family and did all of those things. But the truth of the matter is that social workers actually have an opportunity to be different and to treat them different. And so the goal at the hub is to be different, and let people tell us what they need, and answer the damn phone after 5 p.m. Social service agencies need to pick up for these youth after 5 p.m. because the truth is they're out here and they're doing their crap at 9, 11, 1, 2, 3, and you got to pick up the phone because that's when they need you. They don't need you at 4 o'clock in the afternoon when they can walk into their buddy's place. They need you at 1 o'clock in the morning when they've just been beat up on the street, or they've had something stolen, or the worst 15 minutes of their life. And so we need to be able to support these kids at that time. So that's the goal. But we also have this wonderful drop-in program that supports a ton of folks in our community.
And again, I always interrupt, but at the Hamilton Hub, like Jen said, and this is kind of like how Help Heal Humanity started as well. We didn't come in with a big plan and a big agenda of what we wanted to do. We just provided an opportunity for people to come and tell us what they need. And we're just the vessel between, what people need and how they get that. And what I love about the hub, there's been so many times where I've called Jen to try to have a conversation with her, and she's like, "No, I'm hosting court hearings. No, I'm doing CPA training, or no." And I'll say, just the other day, I walked out of the gym, and we Help Heal Humanity volunteers at the hub, right? Because we know for sure, we see the people coming through, we give them the meals. We've given the clothes, we've given the best that we can. Jen, again, as she said, is supported, but she gives so much more, right? And she gives so much training, and she gives so much opportunity. I know she even hires, the people that come through the door, so that they have a place to now, be help for other people. But and the other thing is, and this is another, Jen can speak about this. This is something that, a lot of people see these people on the streets and think that, make an opinion about them that they shouldn't have until you spend time with them and you realize they are humans and they have stories, and, things just didn't go right and they didn't have anybody there. And see, now Christopher wants to have you on your show. And after this, you're going to have to be a whole bunch of other shows, and again, right now, what's happening on the streets, when I first went to the hub with my team, and she was showing us all around all the different areas, like this is where people could come and do their training, this is where people could come and do their court, this is where we do these kind of workshops, and then she had a special wall, and again, nobody knows about this because nobody talks about these issues, and she had a whole wall of just the number of people, the residents or the homeless, that were coming through her shelter, who had died of an overdose of, I always say it wrong. What is it? What's a new drug?
An opioid overdose.
Is it fentanyl? Yes.
It depends. It could be opiate overdose. Doesn't necessarily mean fentanyl, but yes. An overdose nonetheless.
And again, this is a real big issue. And it's not just in Canada. It's across the States. It's everywhere. And it's, again, these people are, innocent to the degree that their problems are so tough and so rough that they want to escape the reality of their truth, and they go and maybe do a hit just so that they can forget about their problems, and they do this hit, and then all of a sudden they're unconscious and they're dying. And literally last week or the week before that, I was coming out of the gym after my day at work, and I always park my car right by the hub because it's the downtown core. And when I was coming back to my car, I had seen somebody overdosing on the staircase. And as I was running to my car, Jen and all of her crew were already running there, and this is what Jen and the crew do downtown Hamilton, is they go and do the rescues. They go and do the work that, like other big shelters with lots of money and lots of staff and lots of support, could be out there doing. And again, this is why I love Jen, because as she said, they're volunteer based, just like HHH. It's exceptionally hard to run these kinds of programming and charity and driven work just based on volunteer, right? But her heart, her passion, and her desire, and she won't take no for an answer. And she's pulling in all the people to help her make this come true, not for her, but for our community. Right.
One of the things we really did this year, Serena, is we amped up the amount of volunteers that are coming from two very specific academic programs, right? So we have medical students in our space, and we have police officers, police foundation officers. So kids who want to be police officers in our space. Because the truth of the matter is the way we get systemic change in the system and we reduce the stigmatization is to teach them at the academic level that these are people, right? And so they're coming into our space, they're volunteering in our space, they're getting real life interactions with people. So when they meet them in an emergency room as a doctor, or they roll up on them as a police officer, that interaction is different now, right? They've known these people. They've had an opportunity to engage with them in a really sort of low barrier environment. And so maybe that leads to second chance opportunities. Maybe it leads to a doc actually listening to the client who says, I really need these meds, and they're not drug seeking. They really need the meds, right? And so if we're building that in the academic community, then we're building better doctors and we're building better police officers. And we have the opportunity to do that because we're putting them in frontline work where that low barrier is there and the stigmatization goes away. And so that's really the goal, is to, build them up and give them those opportunities. Community policing works, right? If it's done properly. I'm not a defund the police, or, that's not my goal. I think Alex is from Baltimore. Alex will know a group called ROCA in the US. Some of you may know a group called ROCA in the US. We are looking at those models, right? That's the stuff we want to do here, right? We institutionalize these young men very, very early on, and this is where we end up. So we need to introduce better opportunities to teach young people going into those fields how to treat folks. And that's how you build change. It's one little step at a time, but long-term sustainable change is teaching doctors and police officers how to do it different. So we give them that opportunity in our space, and they contribute to that space. And we have over 150 volunteers. We are in the process of trying to get a medical clinic up and running in our space. So that's a full service, one-stop shop. Kids who are afraid to go anywhere else or don't feel welcome anywhere else because of their addictions or criminal activity will come here, they'll see a doc, they'll get court taken care of, they'll check in with their PO, they'll have all of those things in one location with people they feel safe and that they trust. And so the chances of them actually doing the stuff they need to do is way better because it's all there and it's all provided in a safe and trusting environment.
Do you guys understand why I love Jen and why she was the first guest on our show?
Yes.
She has you also understand why we can't be on TV together because we just keep talking.
Okay, I want to pop in here. I didn't want it because it's just so awesome. I'm just sitting here like, oh my God, I can listen to them all night. This is amazing. First of all, Jennifer, you got the same kindred spirit as Serena. That's why I see why you two are like this. And I'm telling you, once I get a hold, like I got a hold of Serena, I'm gonna get a hold of you, lady. We gotta. I got other shows. I gotta bring you on my other shows. It's not just this one. Yes.
We talked about on our little group chat with my coworkers here that I do this little thing at midnight with my team, and it's called Midnight Chats with Jen, and it's an opportunity for us to detox for the day because sometimes it's just a really bad day. Sometimes we just have some shit to say, right? And so we have these little midnight chats with Jen. We said we should do a YouTube channel now. Now that I've had my first experience on a podcast, maybe that's an opportunity.
You got it. You got it. I'll subscribe. Right, Serena?
Yeah. And again, I love this, and it's even passing the torch. Like I was nominated for an award and then I went on to nominate Jen because I think Jen is one of those people who steps outside herself and actually cares for the well-being and goes the extra mile, right? And she does these things. And that's why she's a powerhouse. And I'm so excited that she agreed to come on the show. And, as a community worker, as a service giver, as, the founder of, the hub, you're working all hours of the day and night. And that is something about Jen that I know for sure. She doesn't, I know her hours are 24/7 because she has built these relationships that she's not going to let anyone down. And the community sees her and the hub as the one place that they are safe. It's the one place they could go to, and that's where they're going. And I know she's got that heart where she's not going to let them down. So she makes sure, even when they're closed, somebody will still open up that door. You know what I mean? And she is an incredible soul. And I'm really happy that you came here tonight, Jen, because I already know that Barbara has other shows and wants to place you on those. Christopher has a couple shows and he's already said he wants you on them. And again, it's an opportunity for us just to share our light with others, because when people listen, there's always that one or two people that come in, like a Chris, like an Alex, that can, make big changes for us. And so if coming on this show tonight is able for you to tell your story to others, then again, that's what this is about, is building each other up and recognizing the gifts. Yeah. So
I want to, because of timing, what we want to do, since Jen, you are our special guest tonight, I want to take myself and Serena down for like 30 seconds, give us a little breather. And I want you to any lasting things that you want to say to the audience, and then how they can help you, anything that you want to say, and we'll come right back up.
Yeah, I think for the Hamilton Hub, one of the biggest things that we could use is donations. As of January, we are not city supported. So as of January, basically everything that happens at the hub has been supported by my amazing team, right? Everybody that works for us and volunteers in our space, specifically my directors, has had out-of-pocket expenses, has done all of these things to make sure that we don't let the people down that we've been servicing for 2 years. So we are looking for new connections, looking for opportunities. We're, not looking to charge for services, right? Obviously, we have to build a revenue generating activity. We know that. But the truth of the matter is, this is about the people. So it's about getting there and making sure we answer the phone for people. And so in order to do that, we need to keep the lights on and we need to make sure that stuff's there. So anything you can do from a donation perspective, please feel free to reach out to us. Donations don't have to be monetary. Monetary is great, but we also need basic hygiene products. We also need food. We also need all of those things. And that's how we keep the government out of our business, right? This is how we separate ourselves from other agency space who are collecting checks from city services and, various other organizations and charitable models. Our job is really community driven, to build healthy, sustainable communities that are grassroots driven and designed by the people who live it. So the peers, the folks who actually live in this world, get to make the decisions about what agency space should look like. It shouldn't be dictated by bigger organizations. So everything we get at the hub goes right back into the hub. So anything you can do to support would be great. Serena, I love you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I was petrified, but we're here now, so it's good.
Oh yeah, you're good now. You're in this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And again, Jen, I know we have it hanging across the banner, the hamiltonhub.org. So go to hamiltonhub.org to figure out all the services, all the people. And again, for anybody who's listening, in the Hamilton area, because we do have a Hamilton following, I will say with full confidence, if you are going to give to a charity locally, the Hamilton Hub is the place to give it, because this woman and her team of volunteers are making a massive difference. So Jen, I'm always, like, you gave me goosebumps again, and your story and your mission and your vision and how you go about it is so inspiring. And I hope that you can become this, trendsetter for other charities, right? Because what you're doing is so unique and so different, but it's so what is needed in the world right now, that you can use your model to show all the other charities, like, what you're doing is great, but maybe you should try doing this, because you have a successful rate and the people keep coming back to you and you are making a massive difference, Jen. So
thank you. We always say that, whatever we've been doing for the last 20 years with these young youth hasn't been working, right? Because we're still cycling through that. So what does it hurt to try to be different? What does it hurt? So that's where we're at.
Yes. So with that said, Miss Serena and Miss Jennifer, thank you so much. We'll be back next Thursday, 9 o'clock Eastern time with some more of HHH, wonderful information, and then also another guest that we're bringing on that's helping the world move from one extreme to the next, because we need to help the world. We need to be out there, just like these two wonderful ladies said. Get in there, get in the trenches. Don't worry about whatever, and just do it, because somebody needs help in their situation where they are in it. So with that said,
big girl panties on. Put the big girl panties on and get in there. Let's do it.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
And although it may seem a little mundane, packing up boxes and, being on the assembly line, what we're really doing is putting in hundreds of hours into the people on the streets who need us. And they need us in a way that none of us will ever understand. And for the last couple of weeks, I've been on the grounds every day. They know we're coming today, they know we're coming tomorrow, and they look forward to seeing us, because we're the one little bit of hope that they have, to have a warm meal in their bellies and to know that somebody in the world is actually caring for them and loving them. And without people like you showing up today to give your time, your energy, and your spirit, none of this is possible. So I want to really say thank you to everyone, because what we're doing here today may seem small, but it's actually really, really big, and it's impacting hundreds and thousands of families. So I thank you, I love you, I look forward to doing this with you today. My name is Serena Buffalino, and I am the founder of Help Heal Humanity. Help Heal Humanity is a charity that is focused on unconditional giving, love, and support to some of the most vulnerable communities in the world.